ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 11, Svāyambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Mahārāja. So we are in the section where Svayambhuva Manu is advising Dhruva Mahārāja, and we are at text 21. We'll just continue, text 21. आयुषोपयचं जन्तोः तथैवो अपचयं विभु उभाभ्यां रहितं स्वस्थो द्वस्तस्यस्त्य विराससौ. Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is all powerful and he awards the results of one's fruitive activities. Thus, although one living entity's duration of life is very small, whereas that of another is very great, he is always in his transcendental position, and there is no question of lessening or increasing his duration of life. Purport. Both the mosquito and Lord Brahma are living entities in the material world. Both are minute sparks and are parts of the Supreme Lord. The very short duration of the life of the mosquito and the very long lifetime of Lord Brahma are both awarded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the results of their karma. But in the Brahma Samhita, we find it said, Karmani Nirdahati. The Lord diminishes or vanquishes the reactions of devotees. The same fact is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat Karmano Anyatra. One should perform karma only for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one is bound by the action and reaction of karma. Under the laws of karma, a living entity wanders within the universe under the rule of eternal time. And sometimes he becomes a mosquito and sometimes Lord Brahma. To a sane man, this business is not very fruitful. Bhagavad Gita 9.25 gives a warning to the living entities, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Those who are addicted to the worship of the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. And those who are addicted to the worship of the Pitas, forefathers, go to the Pitas. Those who are inclined to material activities remain in the material sphere, but persons who engage in devotional service reach the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where there is neither birth nor death, nor different varieties of life under the influence of the law of karma. The best interest of the living entity is to engage himself in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur advised, my friend, you are being washed away in material nature's waves of time. Please try to understand that you are the eternal servant of the Lord. Then everything will stop and you will be eternally happy. Hare Krishna.
Further, Swayambhuva Manu is advising that it is the Supreme Lord Vishnu who is all powerful, and under his supervision, there is results of one's fruitive activities are awarded. Thus, one living entity may have one type of facility in the life, and another living entity may have another type of facility, including one's duration of life. And there is no question of increase or decreasing the duration of his or her own life. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are varieties of living entities, and all the living entities, they are actually enjoying or suffering their own karma phala, right? And as per the karma phala, the part of karma phala is one is born of a very high parentage with a very long lifespan, and one is born with something else. And the spectrum is right from a mosquito to Lord Brahma, all are the living entities undergoing their different things. Just like in Mumbai, we can see one place there is a grandson is born to Mukesh Ambani. The moment the grandchild is born, the moment he is born, he becomes billionaire, right? 20 kilometers from there, there is Dharavi slum where the child is born, and the mother has to keep the child aside and go for some, Manarega kind of a work so that she can get the next meal for the child. So, all this is happening because of one's karma, right? But this karma can be completely nullified by the process of devotional service. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. And that's why our activities, they have to be focused on satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Yajnarthat karmano. Otherwise, anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. There is always the chance of binding within the karma. And therefore, a devotee, the Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita that whatever you are doing, yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. So, what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is the art of understanding and living a life as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Everything we are doing as an offering to Supreme Lord. People think my condition is bad. Maybe if I go to another place, the condition will be good. But no, the same things, they are just there. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. One may go from India to abroad, from abroad to another planet like Mars or something. Yanti deva vrata devan, planets of the demigods, planets of the Pitruloka. All these places are the same thing. A Brahma Bhuvanan Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. It is only the abode of the Supreme Lord, which is Vaikuntha. And therefore, Prabhupada writes here, the best interest of the living entity is served when he engages himself in pure devotional service and thus goes back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, we are simply washed away by the waves of the material nature. And therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur very beautifully prays that we have to understand we are actually the dasa of the Supreme Lord. And when we understand this, the onslaught of the material nature will stop at once. Text 22. केचित् कर्म वदन्त्येनं स्वभावम् अपरे नृपः एके कालं परे दैवम् पुंसं कामम् उतापरे. Translation?
Translation: the differentiation among varieties of life and their suffering and enjoyment is explained by some to be the result of karma. Others say it is due to nature, others due to time, others due to fate, and still others say that it is due to desire. Purport: there are different types of philosophers, Mimaskas, atheists, astronomers, sexualists, and so many other classifications of mental speculators. The real conclusion is that it is our work only that binds us within this material world in different varieties of life. How these varieties have sprung up is explained in the Vedas. It is due to the desire of the living entity. The living entity is not a dead stone. He has different varieties of desire or karma. The Vedas say, Kamo Karchita. The living entities are originally parts of the Lord, like sparks of a fire, but they have dropped to this material world, attracted by a desire to lord it over nature. That is a fact. Every living entity is trying to lord it over the material resources to the best of his ability. This karma or desire cannot be annihilated. There are some philosophers who say that if one gives up his desires, he again becomes liberated. But it is not at all possible to give up desire, for desire is a symptom of the living entity. If there were no desire, then the living entity would be a dead stone. Srila Narottam Das Thakur therefore advises that one turn his desire towards serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then desire becomes purified. And when one's desires are purified, one becomes liberated from all material contamination. The conclusion is that the different philosophers' theories to explain the varieties of life and their pleasure and pain are all imperfect. The real explanation is that we are eternal servants of God, and that as soon as we forget this relationship, we are thrown into the material world where we create our different activities and suffer or enjoy the result. We are drawn into this material world by desire, but the same desire must be purified and employed in the devotional service of the Lord. Then our disease of wandering in the universe under different forms and conditions will end. Hare Krishna.
Now, Svāyambhuva Manu explains that this differentiation amongst the varieties of life, what is this meaning? Is that there is a differentiation in varieties of somebody is living in 1 BHK flat, somebody is living in a row house in Dubai, somebody is driving two-wheeler, somebody is driving BMW. This is within human society. And then across, somebody is living as a cockroach, right? Under somebody is living as a pig in the gutter. Somebody is living as a demigod in the heavenly planets, traveling in the aeroplanes made up of the pure gold. So there is the differentiation amongst the varieties of life, and thus their happiness and distress, suffering and enjoyment is explained by some as the result of karma. Some explain this as a result of nature. Somebody explain as a result of time. Some explain this as a result of fate, and others still say this is due to one's desires. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the different types of philosophers, they come up with different explanations for the happenings in the life. There are Mimamsakas, Karma Mimamsa. They said everything is happening according to karma. Bas, nobody has any other role. So they are the Mimamsa people. Atheists, they say, oh, it's all by chance. You are just... A problem is you are getting bewildered by the misery so much, and therefore you are trying to find out some unreal or something which doesn't exist. God bid, there is nothing called as God. Because you are distressed so much, you are thinking there is God, but there is no God actually. So just face the life. So this is atheistic philosopher. Then there are astronomers. Typically the communists. Then there are others who say sambhog se samadhi tak. There is nothing else. But only the calm is there. And this is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. And then there is such a large variety of people who are putting forward their own faulty theory. Right? Tarko pratishtha shrutayo bibhinna naso muniriyasya matam na bibhinnam. One will not be called as a muni unless you have a bhinna mata. Right. But we have to understand the mata of the Supreme Lord, which is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita explains all the suffering is due to the desire of the living entity. And some people say, yeah, this is the desire, therefore you have to kill the desire. But it is not possible. There are many people who will do meditation, and they want to do meditation saying that, hear the sound of the silence. Have the desire to become desireless. Sir, becoming desireless is also a desire. Prabhupada says, desirelessness is not possible for a living entity because that is the symptom of life and consciousness. What we have to do, we don't have to destroy the desires, we have to purify the desires. See, there is a difference between karmis and the jnanis. Karmis, this is our Chaitanya Charan Prabhu explains this very beautifully. Karmis, they will romanticize everything. They will say, oh, it is desire. That's why the whole life is going on. Jnanis, they will demonize everything. They will say, it is because of the desires you are suffering. Destroy the desires. It is actually the devotee who will utilize the desire. Right? So neither we have to demonize, neither we have to romanticize. What we have to do is, we have to utilize the things. That is advised by Narottam Das Thakur. Krishna karma arpane. Krodha, bhakta dveshi jane. So one has to purify one's desire, and this is the the prime principle of devotional service. Family, the karmis will say, oh, family, my life is for my family, and I live and die for my family. They will romanticize family. Gyanis will say, oh, family is the cause of bondage and a cause of distress. They will demonize the family. What a devotee will do? Devotee will spiritualize the family, right? So instead of romanticizing, instead of demonizing, we have to spiritualize our desires. And this is how Srila Prabhupada says here. This is how Narottam Das Thakur says, one has to turn his desire towards serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. The conclusion is that different philosophers theorize to explain varieties of their pleasures and pains. But the real explanation, who says real explanation? Real explanation as per Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Real explanation is that we are eternal servants of the Lord. And as soon as we forget that relationship, right? Krishna bhuliya jeev, bhogavancha kare. We want to enjoy the material nature. And then what happens? Nikatastha māyā tara, jhapatiya dhare. Then we are thrown in this material world. And therefore, because the desire is the cause of the bondage, the same desire will become the cause of liberation when instead of killing the desire, we will purify the desire. Text 23. अव्यक्तस्य अप्रमेयस्य नानाशक्ति उदयस्य च न वै चिकीर्षितं तात को वेद वेदाथ स्वसंभवम्. Translation.
The absolute truth, transcendence, is never subject to the understanding of imperfect sensory endeavor, nor is he subject to direct experience. He is the master of varieties of energies like the full material energy, and no one can understand his plans or actions. Therefore, it should be concluded that although he is the original cause of all causes, no one can know him by mental speculation. Purport. The question may be raised since there are so many varieties of philosophers and philosophers theorizing in different ways, which of them is incorrect? Which of them is correct? The answer is that the absolute truth, transcendence, is never subject to direct experience or mental speculation. The mental speculators may be called Dr. Frog. The story is that a frog in a 3-foot well wanted to calculate the length and breadth of the Atlantic Ocean on the basis of his knowledge of his own well. But it was an impossible task for Dr. Frog. A person may be a great academician, scholar, or professor, but he cannot speculate and expect to understand the absolute truth, for his senses are limited. The cause of all causes, the absolute truth, can be known from the absolute truth himself, and not by our ascending process to reach him. When the sun is not visible at night, or when he is covered by a cloud in the day, it is not possible to uncover it, either by bodily or mental strength or by scientific instruments. Although the sun is there in the sky, no one can say that he has discovered a torchlight so powerful that if one goes on a roof and focuses the torchlight on the night sky, the sun will then be seen. There is no such torchlight, nor it is possible. The word avyakta.
Long purport, we will read
Sorry.
into seconds. Svāyambhuva Manu is now continuing his explanation that the absolute truth, transcendence, is never subject to understanding of imperfect sensory endeavor, and therefore he is called as aprameya. Avyaktasya aprameyasya nana shakti udayasya cha. He is the source of variegated energies and nobody can understand his plans, and no one can know him by mental speculations. So, we just cannot understand everything. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, the question may be raised that since there are so many varieties of philosophers theorizing the different way, which one is correct? And the answer is that the absolute truth is never subjected to the direct experience or mental speculation. Bahunam janmanamante, the mental speculator will take a long, long time, right? And still he may not reach the Supreme Lord. Such mental speculators are called as Dr. Frog. So Dr. Frog means once there was a frog and he was living in the well, and another friend came. He came from the Atlantic Ocean. And this Dr. Frog was very proud of his well, and he knew his well really very well. Right. And he said, and the Atlantic Frog, he said that, the place I'm coming from is a far different place. And this Dr. Frog was trying to imagine the length and breadth and depth of the Atlantic by his own experience in his 3 feet well. Correct. Similarly, what it means is that many times, we, the scientists or scholars or academicians or professors, Prabhupada says, they cannot simply integrate life, put some single integral, double integral, triple integral, and say from 0 to infinity, integral delta x. Life is not so easy. One cannot estimate the personality of Godhead by one's limited experience. It is simply not possible. The example given is here as the sun, that the sun is there in the sky, the brightest reality. If anything is real, the sun is real, right? Nobody can deny, everybody can see the sun. But still, the sun will appear on its own when he is supposed to. In the night, somebody may always shout, there is no sun, no sun, no sun. Or in the light, somebody may say, I will make such a torchlight, I will make such a battery that I will try to find the sun. No, sir. You can find the sun by the sweet will of the sun when the sun will rise in the morning. Right? There is no such torchlight which is possible. Similarly, what it means is that, one cannot force the Supreme Lord to be revealed within himself because I am a great academician, because I am a great scholar, because I am a great professor, and because I am good in mathematics. No, the Lord is aprameya. Mathematics is prameya, but the Lord is aprameya. So, Lord cannot come under the purview of mathematics. Yeah, please continue.
The word avyakta, unmanifested, in this verse indicates that the absolute truth cannot be manifested by any strain of so-called scientific advancement of knowledge. Transcendence is not the subject matter of direct experience. The absolute truth may be known in the same way as the sun covered by a cloud or covered by night, for when the sun rises in the morning in its own way, then everyone can see the sun, everyone can see the world, and everyone can see himself. This understanding of self-realization is called Atma Tattva. Unless, however, one comes to this point of understanding Atma Tattva, one remains in the darkness in which he was born. Under the circumstances, no one can understand the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is equipped with varieties of energies, as stated in the Vedic literature, Prasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. He is equipped with the energy of eternal time. Not only does he have the material energy which we see and experience, but he has also many reserve energies that he can manifest in due course of time when necessary. The material scientist can simply study the partial understanding of the varieties of energies. He can take up one of the energies and try to understand it with limited knowledge. But still, it is not possible to understand the absolute truth in full by dint of material science. No material scientist can foretell what is going to happen in the future. The Bhakti Yoga process, however, is completely different from so-called scientific advancement of knowledge. A devotee completely surrenders unto the Supreme, who reveals himself by his causeless mercy. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Lord says, I give him intelligence. What is that intelligence? Yenamam upayantiye. The Lord gives one the intelligence to cross over the ocean of nescience and come back to Godhead. In conclusion, the cause of all causes, the absolute truth or Supreme Brahman, cannot be understood by philosophical speculation, but he reveals himself to his devotees because the devotee fully surrenders unto his lotus feet. Bhagavad Gita is therefore to be accepted as a revealed scripture spoken by the Absolute Truth himself when he descended to this planet. If any intelligent man wants to know what God is, he should study this transcendental literature under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Then it is very easy to understand Krishna as he is.
Further, now Srila Prabhupada explains the word avyakta. Avyakta means unmanifested. That the absolute truth cannot be manifested by the scientific advancement of knowledge. One cannot say, oh, now I'm PhD in mathematics, I'm PhD in quantum physics, I have to see God, I qualify to see. No, sir. Absolute truth will be manifest on its own sweet will. And therefore, absolute truth or the scriptures, they are called as revealed scriptures. And that's why Bhagavad Gita is a secret, Bhagavatam is a secret. Why? Because although these are the open books, the imports of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam will be revealed as per the surrender of that personality to the Supreme Lord. Just like continuing with the sun example, sun will rise in the morning on its own sweet will, and then everything will be clear. One will be able to see sun, one will be able to see the universe, one will be able to see the oneself and one's activities and relationship with everyone. This is called as Atma Tattvam. Now, material scientists, they are simply engaged in trying to understand one of the energy of the Lord, that is material energy, forgetting the Lord has infinite such energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. Right? And thus, one cannot actually force Lord to be understood by one's material intelligence. Material intelligence is very, very limited. Nobody can foretell what is going to happen in the future. Like, for example, very recently, just 5 years back, there was a COVID. No scientist, nobody could predict that such a disease will come, that entire world will be standstill, right? Can you imagine? I mean, 3 months, no, there was no trains, no buses, nothing, no flights. Everything just came to standstill. So it is very difficult. But for a devotee, it becomes very easy. Why? Because the buddhi is given by the Supreme Lord himself. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. That the Lord will give the intelligence so that a devotee can very easily cross over this material world and come back to him. In conclusion, Prabhupada says the absolute truth cannot be understood by mental speculation or philosophical speculation. The Lord is revealed to the sincere devotee by the process of devotional service. And this process of devotional service is very beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So although these are open books, these books are called as revealed scripture. What is the meaning of revealed scripture? See, academic knowledge, if I start reading quantum physics, first reading I may not understand anything, second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th reading I will start to understand, and by 20th reading of that book I will master that book. But that is not the case with Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. One may go on reading, but the import of the book is revealed based on sincerity and surrender of a devotee, right? And therefore these books are called as revealed scriptures. And in this way, it is very easy to understand, the spiritual life, Lord Krishna, as it is. Text 24. न चैते पुत्रक भ्रातुः हन्तारो धनदानुगाः विसर्गादानयो तात पुंसः तैवं हि कारणम्. Translation.
My dear son, those Yakṣas who are descendants of Kuvera are not actually the killers of your brother. The birth and death of every living entity are caused by the Supreme, who is certainly the cause of all causes.
So now, Svayambhuva Manu says, my dear son, Tata, na chayita putraka. Hey putra, previous verse he is saying Tata, Tata ko Vedatha. That Yakshas are the descendants of the Kubera, Dhanada, right? And they are not actually killer of your brother, Uttama. Birth and death is ultimately caused by the Supreme. who is certainly Sarva Karana Karanam, Daivam hi Karanam, Pumso Daivam hi Karanam. Text 25. Sa eva Vishwam Srijati, sa eva Avatihanti cha, Athapi hi Anhankarat, Nas Ajjate Gunakarma bihi. Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead creates this material world, maintains it, and annihilates it in due course of time. But because he is transcendental to such activities, he is never affected by ego in such action or by the modes of material nature.
Yes.
In this
So,
book,
purport we'll take it tomorrow.
Sure.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead creates this material world. He is the creator. He maintains it. He is the maintainer. And he annihilates it in the due course of time through different agencies like Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. He himself is transcendental to all such activities and is never affected by the ego of such action or by the modes of material nature. And therefore, ascertaining the ultimate cause, my dear Dhruva, you should refrain from further killing of the Yakṣas. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a small question.
Yes, Prabhu.
We say that these books are revealed scriptures, like depends on the surrenderness of your devotee, right? So, for example, if assuming that I'm not surrendered, but I hear from a surrendered, very senior devotee or pure devotee who gets revealed scriptures. So by hearing him, should we understand that the scriptures are revealed to this unsurrendered devotee, or if he hears also, he will not be able to understand them because he's not surrendered?
No. By hearing him, this word itself means we are surrendering.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the moment we pick up Bhagavad Gita, the moment we pick up Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we are surrendered.
Okay. So by hearing a pure devotee itself is surrendered to the pure devotee.
The process, the Shravanam process itself is the surrender. So when we start hearing, we are surrendering.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
Correct?
Yeah. Thank you,
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Krishna,
everyone.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, how do you spiritualize the family? Is this answer too long for you to give now? We can take it another time. How do you
How to
spiritualize
spiritualize the family? It's the process is how to spiritualize family is that. See, the karmis, they will want to enjoy the family. Jnanis, they will say, is all the cause of bondage and suffering, and who is going to come to you at the time of death? Nothing. They will demonize the family. But how we spiritualize the family? How we spiritualize the family? The first thing is that, the easiest way to spiritualize the family is in the hands of the ladies in the family. And that's why we say that, when a man becomes a devotee, he alone becomes a devotee. But when the lady becomes the devotee, she actually makes entire family into a devotee. So the first way to spiritualize the family is to convert anna into prasadam. That without doing any disruption outrightly, not that, from today I'm stopping onion, garlic, this and that. No. Whatever is offerable to the Supreme Lord, one should begin offering. Right. And then what happens is that part of the anna has become prasada now. So slowly one has to introduce chanting of Hare Krishna. Like, there are grandmothers who can tell beautiful Krishna stories to their grandchildren. So in a way, trying to add Krishna in every aspect of our life without irritating people. This is a very important thing, right? Without agitating people, without a great disruption, we should begin to add Krishna in people's life and in our life. This is how we spiritualize the family. So the first way is, one can start offering prasadam. Second is, we are telling stories to the grandchildren. We can always tell them stories from Bhagavad Gita, Bhāgavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana. And this is how we are slowly spiritualizing everything. Correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
One small
Krishna.
question.
Yes.
Small question. Prabhuji, with our karma, we can get our happiness or distress. But what about we can raise the children and they got something good or bad things. So their own उनके कर्म उनके साथ रह के हम उनके कर्मों को भी भुगते रहते.
No, you see, the entire principle of karma is a complex principle of karma. Bhagavad Gita also says, bodhavyam vikarmana, karmana gahano gati. We are going to receive a big part of our karma through our husband, wife, children. Children are going to receive their karma through their parents, right? Like a child is born in the Ambani's family, he has a good karma, and that's why he got such a rich parents, and so on and so forth. So when we are upbringing our children, we have to do our best, right? We have to do our best. Later, we have to give them good samskara, we have to give them good facilities. Later, they take on to devotional service or not. Later, they, become good citizens or not. That goes also according to their karma as well.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
the very concluding chapters here in this canto, we are going to see chapter 14, the story of King Vena. Such a, in the dynasty of Dhruva Mahārāja, then later such a personality appeared who was like the death personified. And that there we will see. So sometimes this may happen. But, Anga Maharaj was such a devotee. So what it means is neither as a parents we can become Udasin Baba, saying that everything depends on karma. And my child will be taken care by his or her own karma. Neither, even after giving such a good facility to children, even after giving such the good samskaras to children, if children are not able to take up Krishna consciousness, or if children do something wrong, one should not unnecessarily take that blame on oneself. And this is the principle of Bhagavad Gita. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. We have to do our activity very well, and then do the best and leave the rest. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.